Is South America becoming great again? Well, that's what a number of analysts are saying. This weekend, the conservative candidate and Trump friend Daniel Noboa won re-election in Ecuador's presidential election in an absolute landslide. His nationalist platform, which included a tough-on-crime stance on combating particularly organized crime in the nation, resonated deeply with voters, and a number of commentators are noticing that Noboa's election is signaling a startling and dramatic shift to the right among more and more Latin American nations. And it does indeed look as if MAGA has gone international, and we're going to see exactly how and why. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your patron professor, back in the studio again, as you can see, after being on the road for the last few days. But as always, I'm giving you the latest from the front lines of the rise of a new conservative age. So make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. I'll be the first to admit, gang, that bad habits can be a struggle for anyone, your patriot professor included. And when I hear about a good solution to solving a bad habit I know many people deal with, I cannot wait to share it with my audience. Now, what if I told you that there was an enjoyable and fun alternative to one of the most prevalent bad habits in our society? Well, that is where Fume comes in. This new flavored air device is quickly becoming the new alternative to those old choices. Whether you're helping someone build better habits or just want to give them something fun and relaxing, Fume makes an awesome gift for everyone. It's an award-winning flavored air device with phenomenal flavor, and it's a guilt-free option with non-toxic flavors like crisp mint and orange vanilla. It's like having your favorite sweets and knowing you can feel good about it. The best part about Fume is that it fills a void when you're trying to kick those nasty habits, and it's one more way that courageous conservatives can fight against the left and their agenda to keep Americans down. You should seriously give Fume a try. They conduct third-party studies. They have amazing quality control of their products, and they're developed with real doctors right here in the good old USA. Spring is right around the corner, so head to tryfume.com/Steve Turley and use code Steve Turley to get a free Fume topper when you order a journey pack. Again, tryfume.com/Steve Turley, or just scan the QR code on the screen to grab yours now. So this weekend, conservative firebrand Daniel Noboa won a landslide victory in the presidential election in Ecuador, which is but the latest sign that South and Central American countries are indeed increasingly shifting to the political right after a number of failures from the previous leftist governments in the Americas. Noboa didn't hide his alliance with President Trump. He openly promised to seek a closer partnership with the U.S. president, giving Trump access to military bases in the country, and reaffirmed the use of the U.S. dollar as the primary currency in Ecuador. Noboa's election stands in stark contrast to the leftist governments in Brazil, Mexico, and Ecuador's neighbor, Colombia, and shifting its allegiance to right-wing governments like the United States, El Salvador, and Argentina. Noboa's election in Ecuador is really only one part of a growing right-wing wave across the Americas. We've already seen this happen in El Salvador and Argentina. El Salvador's Nayib Bukele, who was just in the United States, had a wonderful press conference with President Trump in the Oval Office. He's, of course, led El Salvador away from being the single most violent nation on the planet, the murder capital of the world, to now being the safest nation in the Western Hemisphere. He won re-election with an astonishing 85% of the vote. And then, of course, there's Argentina's Javier Milei, who slashed Argentina's monthly inflation rates from 26% upon taking office to today just over 2%. And this appears to be just the beginning. With upcoming elections in Chile and Colombia, many are predicting that these countries will continue this shift to the right. So what's really happening here? Why are we seeing the beginnings of a continental political realignment? Well, in short, it's actually rather simple. The Americas are shifting to the right due to the failure of the left. The Americas are shifting to the right due to the failure of the left. Take, for example, the next two nations with presidential elections coming up, Chile and Colombia. So Chile's leftist president, Gabriel Boric, And Colombia's leftist president Gustavo Petro, who tried to take Trump on with not taking his illegal migrants, his own citizens, back. If you remember a few months back, they both promised to fix the economic problems of their respective countries, but have been nothing but colossal failures. The economies of these two currently leftist nations in particular, Chilean and Colombian economies, they've both stalled. While emerging economies are expected to grow by around 4%, Colombia will reach probably 1.6% if they're lucky. Chile may even experience a contraction of a negative 0.5%. Moreover, rising organized crime means that both countries are grappling with serious security issues. Colombia ranks second worldwide for criminality. Chile, which until relatively recently has been exempt more or less from drug trafficking, they've become a more, shall we say, attractive prospect for that thanks to its relatively developed infrastructure, notably its ports. Not only that, but both presidents face serious corruption charges. Surprise, surprise. But these aren't the only leftist countries that are struggling in the Americas. Mexico, Peru, Brazil, Honduras, many others are filled with left-leaning governments and a stagnating economy. The only economies that are flourishing in the Americas right now are those that are led by the right. In Argentina, the ever-entertaining Javier Milei is effectively fixing the economy and its rampant inflation, which was the byproduct of decades of left-wing governments that absolutely ravaged Argentina's once flourishing economy just no more than 4 decades ago. Javier Milei has lowered inflation. He's drastically reduced government spending, and he's dismantled large parts of the federal bureaucracy. In fact, Milei's governmental reforms, in many respects, were the inspiration behind our own Doge. After a slight initial rise in poverty, the poverty rate has declined in Argentina from 57% in early 2024 to now just 38% by the third quarter of that year, with homelessness also decreasing dramatically. Overall, Milei has fixed Argentina's economic stagnation, reduced inflation from an annual 300% to today just 55%, and has dramatically stabilized the peso. Similarly, in El Salvador, with the right-wing president Nayib Bukele, El Salvador has gone through an astonishing cultural change. It went from one of the most dangerous countries in the world. It went from literally being the murder capital of the world to today the safest country in the Western Hemisphere under Bukele's leadership. He's completely erased cartels and gangs in the country, leading to economic prosperity and cultural flourishing. With safe streets, investments, and tourism are beginning to flood the nation like never before. And so it's not difficult to see why many citizens across the Americas, particularly those living in left-wing countries with bad economies, are increasingly looking for an alternative. But even at a deeper, more geopolitical level, Central and South America, when all said and done, their leftism has always been animated by a rather anti-American sentiment, which looked either to the old Soviet Union or more recently to liberal globalist dynamics for inspiration. Both of those days are over. Those worlds simply don't exist anymore. Trump has officially driven the final nail in the coffin of liberal globalism, particularly with these tariffs. And so now the new political paradigm that's sweeping the planet, of course, is civilizationalism, right-wing nationalism, particularly religious nationalism, which makes the political left look increasingly odd and out of place. So I think the combination of leftist economic failures with a major sea change in planetary politics is inevitably causing the Americas to shift dramatically to the right. Indeed, through the example Bukele, Milei, and most recently Noboa, it is predicted that right-wing parties are going to sweep across the Americas over the next year. And with it, we'll see greater continental allegiance to Trump and economic partnerships with the United States. Perhaps it's then that MAGA will realize its full potential, making the Americas great again. By the way, click on the link in the description below to get all these articles and tweets I reference throughout my videos emailed to you each and every day. You're going to love it. We want you to have the best resources out there to convince your family and your friends of this new MAGA super age that's rising here.